How's it going, everyone? Cup of Anime Joe here, and we are back today for another One Piece review. This one for chapter 1159, titled The Island of Destiny. So we open up with the cover story, and you know what? I guess 1 week of hype was enough, because we are back to the same old, with Yamato, Ulti, and Page 1 making their way back to the Flower Capital, with Yamato having completed her pilgrimage. And we're going to see if anything else happens here, or if last week's reveal of Kozuki Moria ends up being the most important piece of this cover story. So getting into the chapter, it is on this day, 39 years ago, that we mourn the loss of one of our Rocks Pirates members. Rest in peace, Don Marlone. You shall be missed. So we pretty much knew Shaki was going to be kidnapped. Like, that was basically set up. And we also knew that the Rocks Pirates had a traitor. And we pretty much see both in this chapter. Rocks and Whitebeard are both shocked to have seen this happen, and the pirates of Pirate Island start lamenting this fact almost right away. We get a sad panel of a very distraught Gloriosa who is crying at this news, next to one of the scummiest people on the planet. And in this chapter, the very likely traitor, Wang Ji, as he is smiling with sparkles around him as he counts his cash. We do not know if he himself did the kidnapping, or if he worked with Cypher Pole or the Gods Knights to allow them to perform the kidnapping, but there is no doubt of his involvement now. Or at least very little doubt of his involvement now. Frankly, I cannot stand his ugly face anymore, and to think that he gets away with this for 40-some years before Blackbeard finally takes him down at Hachinosu. And while I don't normally root for Blackbeard, I sure hope that there is nothing left of Wang Ji, not even a tooth. Understandably, Roger is furious, cursing Rocks for letting this happen, and even Rayleigh seems rather upset. I would not be surprised in the least if he kind of regrets not accepting her, and maybe even asking her to join them. I'm sure Roger would have been civil and respectful about it if Rayleigh had wanted to go that route, and kidnapping Shaki from the Roger Pirates would have been far more challenging than God Valley, because one, they wouldn't be in a known stationary place, they'd be sailing around on a ship, and none of the Roger Pirates would have sold her out or created this kind of scenario for the world government in the first place. But alas, it is too late. We also learned something absolutely crazy, insane, and that the world, not just Rocks, not just the Roger crew, but Zawarudo was so downtrodden by the kidnapping of Shaki that the entire world's economy ground to a halt for several weeks. How does that even work? Like that is such an astronomical amount of influence that she has on the entire world. Completely insane. But let me tell you something. Not as insane as Saint for Garland Garling. Now, do not get me wrong here. I am not surprised that he is this deplorable, given he is a celestial dragon and a holy knight. But we see him come back to God Valley, meet his two kids, Shanks and Shamrock, so it's confirmed they are the biological children of Garling. And with a smile on his face, he tells their mother that if they were to share a home, it would not be here. And he also tells her that the island won't be around much longer. But listen, it gets worse. He also tells her that he has secured himself a worthy wife and has already placed the order. I hate the way he worded that so much. And then he coldly just stabs her right there and walks away. This does not kill her outright, but I am very certain that she will not survive much longer. We then cut to the Marines subduing the citizens of God Valley, and one of them, a recruit at this time, is Monkey D. Dragon. So we get this confirmation as well that Dragon was on God Valley. And I think we now know one of the main reasons, if not the main reason, that Dragon leaves the Marines and starts the Freedom Fighters, stating that he saw no justice there. And I understand it, right? For someone who believes he is going to be doing good in the world, this must be the absolute worst way for that to start out. And he does question why they are doing this to civilians, but pretty much gets told to shut up and follow orders. I am honestly curious to see where Dragon ends up by the end of God Valley, and if he sits back and follows orders the whole time, or if he tries to do anything. And we will get a potential hint towards this, in some respects, at the end of this chapter. We then cut over to the slave transport ship that Ginny, Ivankov, and Kuma are on, and we see the scene on how Ginny actually releases the information about God Valley to the world. And that's really what kicks off everyone arriving. I like this because I'd kind of always wondered how she as a child had access to the equipment to do this. Like, the skill aside, how did she get the equipment for this? But the answer was simple. She just hijacked it from the Marines. We also learn who the informant is. None other than Little News Morgans. Okay, I made that up. But it is Morgans, who at this point is around 15 years old and is already the president of basically what seems to be his own startup, the World Economic Journal, just when it was a lot smaller than it is in the current story. And we also see why he is the way he is today, because he is already seemingly not afraid of Cypherpole, as he tells them to pay him off to not say anything about this leak, but thinks to himself that no matter what they do, he will be leaking this news to Pirate Island. So even at the whippersnapper age of 15, Morgans is chasing the juiciest story he can. And I'm guessing it is through this that Roger learns as well, right? So Morgans releases it to Pirate Island. Pirate Island is how Roger gets it, because Cypherpole also picked up Ginny's transmission. That explains how the Marines found out, which is how Kong was able to tell Garp to show up on the island. Rox and his crew spare no efforts in their pursuit of Shocky, with the only one doubting the information being the a-hole himself, Wang Ji. I really like the cute panel of Gloriosa jumping up in excitement in the background at this news, and Shiki is totally losing it too, so he is ready to go. We learn that the Celestial Dragon human hunt is not so secret that it is safe from at least becoming a rumor, as Whitebeard has heard of it before. Even though he thought it was a baseless rumor, word of it did get out in some way. We also see Big Mom and Kaido here. They are showing more interest in devil fruits than anything else, though. We know Kaido gets his dragon fruit on God Valley. But now I am wondering if maybe Big Mom gets some of her children's devil fruits here as well, like the initial ones, Katakuri being an example. We also see that the Roger crew are all gung-ho at saving Shocky. And I really like this scene because while many of the crew members are still slinging hearts for her, Roger, Gyaban, and Rayleigh are pretty much locked in. They are not. They are ready to go. And so I really think that to them, and the other members as well, but really to these three, this is truly about saving a friend. We also get to see how Harold is first involved in this as well, as he was tasked by the world government to stop Rox from reaching God Valley. We see that he is also being watched by a world government ship. And here, let me tell you, we get the One Piece bombshell of the year. Rox reveals to Harold over some drinks a piece of information that he is not even about to tell his crew. So this is so secret that frankly Rox was not going to tell anybody. It's just I think he's telling Harold here because he wants to give his friend one more chance at maybe helping him. And what Rox says is that he has a different name. Davy D. Xebec. And Harold's like, so you're not actually called Rox. And so, we learn that the Davy name it has just a little bit of influence left in the underworld. It is barely hanging on. We also learn in a little bit that he sent his wife and child off to God Valley to try to keep them safe, leaving them with only the message, trust the Davy family. But so here we find out, like, Rox isn't just a worshiper of Davy D. Jones. He is from the same family, from the same clan. Right? And so now, I'm also looking at you too, Davy D. Teach. So Harold takes the information about Rox's family and surmises, okay, so do you think this is a trap set by them to lure you out? And Rox tells him no, he doesn't think so, right? The Celestial Dragons are there. They would not want him showing up and running amok with all of them there. That's the world government, and especially the Celestial Dragons, would not take that kind of risk. Instead, this was just a mistake on their part. And the lines that come next here, they really make me wonder how Rox came to be seen as such a bad person. Because right now, okay, maybe that's not true. He has definitely done some bad things. He cares about his family, but I suppose that it's a foregone conclusion you're going to care about your family, even if you don't necessarily care about people who are outside of your family. But he says that he feels like luck is no longer on his side, and that destiny is dragging him back in, something we know happens a lot with D-Clan members. And he also says that so long as his wife and kid get to safety, he will be at peace with whatever comes next. So what I really think here now is that Rox knows almost with certainty that this is his last stand. And he even asks Harold one last time to lend him a hand, even though last chapter he had said their business was closed. And I gotta say, Harold's face, it looks both angry but also pained to me. And it really makes me think that he does view Rox as a friend, and that this whole situation is just not fun for him. He does tell Rox he is going to sink him right here and now, and they start to go at it. But I have a feeling that Harold may turn this into a ploy to both let Rox escape and kind of pull the wool over the world government's eyes to save a little bit of face for himself and Elbaf. As for if he'll have any role beyond this in God Valley, remains to be seen. But given we know that Harold goes on for a while and likely continues to interact with the world government, I suspect this may be the end of his part in this scenario. And this brings us to the last page of the chapter. And Dragon has stumbled upon the mother of Shanks and Shamrock, and she pleads with him, please, you have to help my children escape. We know he does something here because they're both alive, and Shanks is not even part of the world government. And so here I think we might actually see Dragon's first act as a revolutionary, even if it is done while he is still part of the Marines. Along with this, we get a shot of a young Blackbeard with his mother facing him, and notably in this chapter, we did not see the faces of Shanks' mom nor Blackbeard's mom. Shocky is not just a prize of God Valley. No. She is the main prize of God Valley. And she was kept pristine for the last year since her capture. We also see that there are now 9 chests instead of the original 6 chests that Oda showed the first time we kind of saw the God Valley setup. So perhaps he realized that he was going to want more prizes or more chests to really flesh everything out. I don't see this as a huge deal, though. If anything, it's more exciting. Summers and Garling have some back and forth on who's going to win, and we also see that Goonko is here as well. Now, interestingly, okay, Garling looks young, Summers looks young, but we know in the current story they've actually aged. They're both old now. Goonko, on the other hand, not so much. She looks young in the current story, and she also looks young in God Valley. So there's something going on with Goonko. She's almost closer to what the Gorosei have than the regular Holy Knights are, in terms of the fact that she is not aging, or seemingly is not aging. The chapter ends on the announcement that not only did they find a Buccaneer brat, but after 800 years, members of the Davy clan have been discovered. And this, I'm going to say, is almost surely the preposterous thing that Garling had mentioned. And so listen, this chapter was wild. We're probably in the hypest stretch of chapters ever, or at least that I have seen from One Piece for a long time. So let me know what you thought of this chapter in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. Did I miss anything? Or is there anything else you'd like me to go over later? Certainly let me know. Also, please give me a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. That really helps out. And with that, I hope that all of you have an excellent rest of your day.